Bill Belichick is still absolutely one of the smartest coaches in the NFL. In 2021, he took a team with a rookie quarterback and a less-than-average offense and got them to the playoffs. He's a coach that is famous for knowing how to strategically game plan for his opposition, taking away their bread and butter, and putting his opposition in uncomfortable situations. However, as of recent times, he's also been criticized either by the media or, for that matter, even me, for being too old school in terms of his offense, not adapting to fit the more fast-paced style seen a lot today. But if you know Bill Belichick, then you know that he is and always will be the old school type, and runs the Patriots with that old school mentality. If he wanted to revamp the Patriots and change their style to fit the modern offense, then he wouldn't have drafted a pocket passing quarterback named Mac Jones in an era where QBs are known for their excellence in making plays outside the pocket. Now, personally, I'm fine with his old school approach as a fan, but this old school style also translates to the decisions he makes on the field, which is where I start to have a problem. If you were watching the Patriots last year, then you know that this team was, in a way, a three-down team. On fourth down, everybody knew that the Patriots' drive was basically over, as it often seemed that Belichick would just refuse to go for it on fourth down. And so, in a fair way, I do want to expose that idea in three key moments from this past season that had they gone New England's way and Bill Belichick made the correct aggressive call to keep the offense out on fourth down, they could have dramatically changed the Patriots season. Now, first, let's go back to Week 4, Patriots versus Bucks, the revenge game, Belichick versus Brady. And so let's travel late into the fourth quarter, where with around a minute left in the game, after a failed third down conversion, Belichick decides to trot out the field goal unit to try to win the game on fourth down. Now, even if the game was being played in the best conditions, in good weather, calling out the field goal unit was still a less than ideal idea. For one, if New England goes for it on fourth down, they can still continue to chew clock and potentially get into better field goal range and kick a much easier field goal. This is, of course, if they do end up getting the conversion, instead of kicking from 56 yards out, which is important for Nick Folk, who had a hamstring injury going to the game. But even then, the conditions were not ideal at all. I mean, it was pouring in Foxborough, which makes placing and kicking the ball risky in itself. And then you also had the GOAT on the other side, Tom Brady, who would still have a minute left to get the Bucks into field goal range and try to win the game. My point being, even kicking a field goal, even though it gets you the lead, making it technically a safe option, it's a safe option that has a high chance of backfiring, whereas the more aggressive option of going for it on fourth down would have likely won New England the game, especially considering that the first down marker was just a measly 3 yards away. Now let's move on to Week 6 against the Cowboys. A fantastic game, I must say, that headed into overtime, and the Patriots started with the ball. But after a failed third down, New England was sitting at their own 46-yard line with a 4th and 3 once again. Once again, 3 yards to keep the drive going, and in overtime, this is pivotal, and Belichick decides to punt. Now, in this situation, it does seem like punting would be the obvious decision. I mean, you're in your own territory, and a failed conversion would end up giving the other team great starting field position. But once again, it's only 4th and 3, and a quick pass or even a run with Damien Harris, who, unlike in the Bucs game, was playing really well. He was over 100 yards, could have really just got the job done. While Bill Belichick's mindset here of trying to trust the defense to get the ball back may have worked, the Cowboys offense was just playing way too well throughout the game. I mean, they literally converted a 3rd and 25 on their previous drive to get in field goal range. And so, considering that they only need a field goal again on this drive to win the game, there was a good chance that they were going to be able to get it done. And, I mean, they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive anyway. And so, once again, this is another situation where Belichick making a more conservative call and more safer call ended up hurting the Patriots instead. Now, finally, you have the wildcard game against the Bills. Now, we all knew that the Patriots were dead screwed going into this game. I mean, in Buffalo, against that offense, against that defense, in that weather, hell no. But there was a call that I found quite puzzling made by Bill Belichick. Down 14, 4th and 1, the Patriots are sitting at their own 34, and Belichick decides to punt. Now, this one just genuinely made me angry on how stupid it was, because it's not even 4th and 3 at this point. It's 4th and 1. 1 yard. Just a QB sneak here would end up giving the Patriots new life and giving them a fresh set of downs to go down the field and respond with a score to keep the game going and ultimately prevent things from getting out of hand. And yet, Belichick brings on the punt team, and guess what? The Bills score on their very next drive. And so even if the Patriots ended up not being able to convert from a yard out, I mean, the Bills' offense is still too good either way. So whether or not they were 35 yards out from the end zone or 70 yards out from the end zone, they were still going to end up scoring. And so right here, this is a situation where the Patriots might as well go for it because their backs are against the wall and they absolutely need points. And Belichick decides to go with the safe option in entrusting his defense to get a stop, which, again, they didn't. Now, again, this is only a small sample size of moments in which Belichick has chosen to be more conservative rather than aggressive, and these decisions would end up hurting the Patriots, resulting in a loss. But this also translates to other moments this year where, while the Belichick's decision to either kick a field goal or punt may have not resulted in a loss directly, it did prevent the offense from scoring touchdowns that could have potentially helped them. Belichick this year cannot rely on New England's defense to justify his conservativeness on fourth down, seeing as the defense definitely got weaker with the losses of Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, and J.C. Jackson. And he ultimately shouldn't have to, seeing as the offense has gotten better tremendously this offseason, and Mac Jones is looking like he could make some strides this year. Again, Belichick was a big reason as to why the Patriots were in the playoffs last year. Not because of Mac Jones, not because of Damian Harris and Matthew Judon, who definitely all contributed, but without Belichick, I don't think the Patriots can get to where they were last year. Belichick is just a good coach that generally knows how to game plan well against other coaches, but his conservative decision-making was also the result of 3 key losses last year that very well could have changed New England's season. The Patriots will be a far scarier team with a far scarier offense if they can keep their drives alive by going for it on fourth down in reasonable situations. And especially when New England is down by more than 2 scores, there definitely should be no question that the Patriots offense should be staying on the field. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this episode. If you guys have any thoughts that differ from mine, be sure to let me know in the comments. It is really helpful to know your opinion on certain things. Maybe I'm missing out on a couple of facts here and there, but let me know if you guys have any thoughts that differ from mine, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.